could be awarded to the winner of this ENS grants round. And it's kind of weird because normally in ENS grants rounds, like they distribute it based off of ENS token holder delegates. But in this case, it's one person, one vote, or one person, 100 votes. And if you vote for one project, all 100 of your votes go to that project. If you vote for two projects, then 50 go to one and 50 go to the other. And because Giveth has such a good shot of getting first place, unless you want to be part of like a strategic group that's gonna like try to like work together to figure out the best way to maximize impact in this round, just vote 100% for Giveth, please. In the CNS grants round. I know you and Nate both have voting power, and I would just recommend that Bear, Tam, YGG, please check if you have voting power. If you've ever voted in a small grants round, then you might have voting power. And also consider voting for the Wayback Machine and check the other side too, the public goods side, the ecosystem grants, just to see if there's any projects in there you want to support, because you surprisingly you have as much power as Nick Johnson in this round. So like, it's basically a one person, one vote round with a really weird, bad model for how the voting is being calculated.
But are you sure I have? Because I'm not really an ENS holder.
Yeah, but you submitted an ENS grant. I mean, have you tried?
I'm just connecting my wallet 1 second.
I'm not 100% sure, because also the way that they've distributed the voting power is very weird, and that's why I'm begging Tam and Bear and everyone else in this call to just try it and see if you have voting power there. If you do, great. If you don't, like, even if you might not think you would, just try, please, because it's dumb. They like this ENS grants. They had lots of bugs. They have lots of weird things. Please try, because you will have as much voting power as anybody else, and it'll have a huge impact on the galaxy. Yep. See, Auntie has it.
I did. Same. I did not think I did, but I do have voting power too.
See what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. And Tam, you can definitely vote for Common Stack too. I think Common Stack has a chance to get 0.3 ETH, but Giveth has a chance to get 0.5. Sorry, 5 ETH. 5 ETH. So like, if Giveth goes from 5 ETH to 3 ETH, the galaxy loses 2 ETH. And if Common Stack gets 0.3 ETH, it's like, oh great, we got 0.3 ETH. It's like, oh, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, ENS small grants is huge. Also, the other thing that's interesting is just Retro PGF is kind of in a slow week, but there's lots of opportunities to like support Galaxy projects, and I'll just put some links in the chat for how you can support.
Cool, thanks. I just voted. I'll check by any chance if any other of my addresses, but I don't think so. I don't know. It strikes me as a really weird way to give people voting power. I don't know.
This is they totally screwed up this round, and it was like delayed for 2 weeks. They had lots of bugs, and like they decided to cut scope on what they executed on, and like the whole voting, this whole thing is horrible. But hey, in the end, Giveth has a chance to get 5 ETH. So
yeah, cool. Well, I dropped the links in the chat, and you did as well, Chris. So others feel free to check it out and see if you got any voting power. Now let's go with the retro. We're going to do the usual, about 10 minutes for each question, and then 5 for discussion. I just see me and myself Tam and myself in Figma. The link is in the chat. I'll drop it again, and I'll give folks just 1 minute to join, and then we we start with the first question. Oh, also, Bear joined. I'll start the timer now for the sake of time. And if anyone else needs more time, we can always leave it up a bit. Okay, I'll wait just 1 second more, and if there's nothing else being written, we can pass over to the discussions. Okay, I'll stop it now. I'll stop it now, and then now we can jump on with 5 minutes of discussion. Does anybody feels like going first? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will go first. I usually don't, but I don't know, have some stuff to say. I think what I'm seeing a lot in here um is that we are getting both really cool comments around the grants program, but also communications and just like strategy with advisory groups and all that, which I believe to be very cool. I think uh, it's really exciting to have. It's also a, a big responsibility. It's very exciting to have our first sponsor, and I hope we get closer to our initial goal of not the TC not even not putting even a penny on the matching pool, and just have it all be given by sponsors, and even have some extra to cover for expenses. That was the initial goal when we started this program. It's also cool to, at least for me, that I've been involved in the past two TEC meetings. I think it's also really nice to be able to just, I don't know, it feels just like a relaxed chat about cool stuff that may or may not happen, but it's nice. And then just QF again in general, I think it's been pretty promising, and I was just looking at your comment, Give, about Tunnel QF and talking with Lauren and using it in Giveth. I think I don't know, it's right now the QF project or team, we are a bit all over the place, but I think if we organize ourselves and we really think through and have some sort of strategy, I actually think we could um, run rounds as a service with the Tunable QF as sort of our open source but proprietary technology of some sorts and things like that. Um, and even support expenses for the TEC, doing so for other big projects, just like Disruption Joe is doing with Arbitrum and some others. But yeah, a discussion for later. I'll pass it over to Tam.
Yeah, I was going to say I wanted to go, but I was in the Figma and I couldn't find my Discord. So I ran out of time. But thanks. I also feel like, I mean, I really like how I do. Okay, so I really like how TCAN and the Gitcoin the grants program advisories both went these last 2 weeks. I think they were super productive and helpful, and as well as bringing, I think it was nice because Vasily and Patty maybe don't have so much to do with the token engineering commons, but it was nice to have them involved. And there's still momentum. It's great that there's so much momentum, and Gideon is really able to take a real vacation. And in my praise today, I also praised him for setting a really good example of taking vacation. We're not all so great at it, and I think it sets a nice model. He does check in from time to time, and I think he can be forgiven for that, but I think he really is taking a vacation. And I don't know how much time is left. 2 minutes left. Should I pass, or does somebody want to share their thoughts on what else went well?
Yeah, I mean, I can go really quick. I just want to double down on the Ocean. So great that we locked down Ocean as a sponsor. Huge ups to Gideon and NT for pulling that off. I mean, and following up and making sure it happens. Just huge. And, that's the hardest one. And also I really I want to also say the take-in discussions have been so good the last 2 weeks and so interesting. Another thing I want to just call out is the work that you're doing, Tam, with Sem, to not only make the migration work for us, but I just deployed a GERV, I've been talking about GERVs for the last 3 years, or something along before the GERVs have even had that name. It's been 3 years, more than 3 years, almost since the beginning of the Common Stack, there was this model. So and early on, before the Give economy was deployed, this was not the end game, but a major milestone for the Give economy. And so this is just so huge, and not only for Giveth and the TEC, but for any project that wants to start their own microeconomy. Now they can. The fact that was launched this week, I feel that's can't be understated. And the other thing is that we are making some really interesting discussions about upgrading our token economy, and it's just fun. It's do we want to put staked ETH or rocket pool ETH into our bonding curve? Do we want to should we upgrade to SDAI while we're on Gnosis chain? These are such great discussions. We're making real upgrades to our economy, and it's been a long time. So and then Tunable QF is such a cool project. So I really hope that we can integrate it with Giveth, but at the same time, I really love your point, NT, that and actually I was listening to a Green Pill with Meg from Grant Stack, or from Allo Protocol. Oh, I can't remember exactly what section she works with, but they want competition for running grants on Gitcoin. So I think the TEC using that as a service offering and saying that the operations group could get external revenue by running other people's QF rounds and offering tunable QF as a service for that work, like we could start hiring people just to do that work, and that's really interesting. So just to jive off of what you're saying, Auntie, I think it's a fucking great idea. And I'll throw it over to Bear.
Yeah, thank you, Griff. Yeah, just super quick. Yeah, I agree with everything that has been said. The grants round, the sponsor, the sessions with the TEC, and I think they have been great. For me, I think it's kind of like serving as a great model for this structure of a DAO or of a commons, of having this group of people discussing strategy items, but then not deciding on that, but instead just expanding it and open it up to the rest of the community for further feedback and for further opinions. I think that's a really, really powerful idea, really powerful structure that we are putting together, and that I think we should continue that way. Just not for the OP migration, but for any kind of like strategic decisions that we take, right? I've really enjoyed this process. Besides that, it also feels great in terms of accountability that we're being able to push forward all the initiatives and projects that we promised in the funding proposal. So that feels great. Even without Gideon, we've kind of like showed that we've been able to do it. In all the fronts, also with community events, Nate taking on that and being able to put together these two events during this month. I think that was an important achievement as well, and that we should keep building on that and continue with that momentum as well. So yeah, I think it feels great that a lot of things in a lot of different fronts are moving forward. So yeah, pass it on to you, YGG.
Awesome, guys. I just want to second everything that everyone said. I was wrestling with some audio issues while we were doing this round, so I didn't get to post a lot of stickies, but I just totally support what everyone has said. So I'll pass it back to Isaac.
Cool, thanks. Okay, let's move on to the next question. And well, I guess just very quickly, right now I'm tied up with this round, but I think once this one ends, I'll be like full on seeing if we can, I don't know, actually run rounds for other people. All right, second question, what needs to improve? And it starts now.
Seems like we've pretty much slowed down and we still have 5 minutes left. Should we maybe open it up for a conversation?
Yeah, you're right. Thanks. Let's just open it right away. Who wants to take it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe you do, Sean?
Yeah, sure. So I posted 2 things here. One is I would like to have someone who's a developer like me, so just someone I can kind of speak the same language with. Isaac's awesome working on TQF with, but he's not a programmer coder, and I mean Rex is great for that, but he's basically gone now with doing his master's degree, and yeah, just having another person around, like not doesn't need to be a full-time person, but just someone that I can sort of do code review with. Getting another Python dev like in the scene. Octopus is kind of comfortable with that, and he's involved in the TQF project, but he's not putting in many hours. He's putting in about 2.5 hours a week, and that's mostly for helping us write papers. There's a prospect with OX Blockboy, but I know he's busy too. So just a general call out for like if we can get one more person who's like a Python programmer. Generally, even someone who just wants to drop in and maybe attend a couple meetings like these ones here and there. Yeah, I'd put the call out for that. And the second one I posted is long-term planning. I think it's so cool what we can do with QF. Like, we know we're going to run 4 rounds per year, and we know that's a total budget of 100,000 USD per year for funding. So we can plan like multi-years. We can plan the next few years ahead. We could even close out sponsorships like for all of 2024 ahead of time and start to automate that process long term. And I know we've talked about the middle gear a lot, and I think we're there still too. But then also that the largest gear is a pretty interesting one now that our QF rounds are like really stable and consistent. So, or at least starting to get there. I'll pass over to Bear.
Just before you go, Bear, for the sake of time, because we have just one other question left, let's try to just comment if we really like have something we really want to say, but if not, we can pass it over.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm just gonna second what you said. I think that's really important, not just in terms of the QF rounds, but in terms of all the expenses as a DAO to start planning out more towards the future. That's really, really important. And the other thing that I had here, it was that it feels to me that sometimes we still need some more time or space to be able to chat about certain other projects. Like, for example, in my regard with the fiduciary stewardship initiative, I feel like I haven't gotten the chance to expand much on it with others. So that's something that I would like to have that more. But I think we're doing better than before. So that's a good thing. And yeah, that's it for me. Pass it on to whoever would like to take it.
I can be really quick. I just want to say, YG, if you ever need some dev support, I have so many devs right at my beck and call. So the only challenge is that they are paid, but if there's ever dev support that you need, and even if it's just like, hey, I want to bounce something off, it's a small thing that we could do. And Mitch is kind of on a retainer, and he's definitely a dev now, so you could always reach out to Mitch, and I don't think there would be any cost there. But if you want like a serious front end dev or Python dev, Nuggin is another person who I think you could reach out to. no charge, and he could do it. But if you ever need like actual dev implementation, we can put together a really small quote and just push something, and get it done well with designers
Sweet.
and stuff like. Yeah.
Thanks, Griff.
Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna take you up on that.
Yeah, and designers too. Like, devs are whatever, but the designers are what make a good product.
Yep.
Also, I just want to say, like, I feel like I've really failed this month at doing as much as I want to do with the TEC, especially around like QF sponsorship requests. I really shouldn't have taken on so much work with the Twitter, and I just can never prioritize it over fundraising for the Galaxy. So I want to apologize for that. Okay, then.
You wanna say something, Tim, or?
I didn't have anything to say other than, of course, I also really like the idea of longer term planning as well. And yeah, I guess that's what I'd say. I wrote the probably least useful one, but also a signal that it was really hard to come up with anything. I think the sprint was just really particularly a lot of completing of initiations, and I thought that was really good. So I didn't come up with anything for this.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I agree. And I don't think you have to worry about that, Grief. I think I'll speak for me, but I think we can all agree that either way you took in quite a bunch of work, and which was very helpful. So um, we had planned enough to make the round ourselves. So we didn't get any sponsor anyway, so it's not like a huge deal, at least for this round. Um, cool. Yeah. So let's jump on to the last question. I'll put just 5 minutes. Usually for ideas, we don't have that much, and after the timer ends, we can just have a few minutes of discussion, open discussion without even timer. There's only 3 minutes left till the top of the hour, so if anyone has to jump off, feel free to, and I'll start the timer just now. Bye, Tom. Thanks. You. I think we can actually just open our mics and talk. Uh, I see you writing something, Sean, but I don't
No,
know.
I don't really
This
have.
last
I don't
question
really.
is always.
I like what Griffin
Mhm.
Bear wrote. Yeah, I don't think nothing's really coming to my mind for this one, but
That's fine. I'll just stop the timer. We can, I don't know, chat a bit. In general, I think that what's going to be very important now for the next year, now when Gideon comes back, is sort of capacity in general, or investing. Like I wrote it on the other question. Like um, we we could have on spendings and people and a lot of stuff last year, because you know we didn't know what to do or where to go. But now that we have some sort of direction, um, our capacity, at least mine, is reaching almost. I'm almost at full capacity. In like, if we wanna, like, if we consider the direction we're going as a good direction, I think we need to really consider doubling down, and that means that probably means increasing the budget, but also finding new people and all that. Which I think it's also related to. I believe this is your script about Suga, and like I welcome anybody who can give us a hand. I guess um, those operational matters are usually in the realm of Bear and Gideon, but I think we do need help.
Yeah, and I think that there's like a huge opportunity here with General Magic, because we are like, we're basically the team that built the, like Santi works for General Magic, like Suga, and countless other people who are can have extremely high understanding of everything the TEC is doing. So like training will be very easy, like there won't be such a delay. And then on top of that, we won't have to do any crazy hiring, because you just tell me what you need and you're like, okay. Like for instance, if Gideon doesn't want to take back on the Twitter, I just asked Steve and Anna Maria to do it. They're running Twitters no problem, and they have capacity. So like, yeah, I think fundraising for the QF rounds, for instance, like, we could try to have Suga try to take something on there and writing grants for us, and try to, anything in running QF rounds, and finding people who want to run QF rounds, and meeting up with them. Like we have all these resources, but the one thing I want to say is that it is like kind of expensive to work with a consulting agency, so it really should be focused on projects that are bringing in some kind of revenue, or that are highly critical, and not kind of frivolous, like, oh, it'd be nice if we had this. Like that's the one thing I want to make sure, that it's like with fundraising, we have a really nice like win-win approach where it's free. Like you don't pay hourly. It's just like, uh, you know, Suga could work on this, and we would just get a cut of any funds that are raised, you know? Um, and then we just have, boom, all of a sudden we have instant capacity, and there's a clear agreement. But like, our general rates, even right now, are like $60 an hour. And for development, sometimes depending on like, even though it's the TEC and we'd give a cut, like Marco usually charges like $150 an hour for the senior design stuff, but we do it for like 120 or like a normal, or 90 or something like that. Like we cut discounts, but these are really high rates, so compared to hiring someone full time. So another option is actually we have people that we could even do hiring for us, get resumes and stuff. So really anything we want to do to scale up, we can make it happen.
Yeah. I'll go.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with everything that has been said. I just think it's important also to keep in mind kind of like the financial situation that the TEC still is. Like we've been in this situation for 2 years maybe already, right? So even if we want to grow and expand our capacity, and we need to be really mindful of that situation, right? That at least until we're not able to figure out the revenue side of things, I think we're still on a kind of like survival mode, right? If we consider the cost that the grants rounds are taking on a yearly basis, plus the operational expenses that the TEC has as a DAO with the coordination team and everything else, we just have enough to survive for one more year. Like 2024, that'd be the last year we would be able to fully cover for everything as we've been covering it until today. So that's kind of like a critical situation. That's why I'm putting a lot of effort and priority to the fiduciary stewardship initiative, because I think it's all about that, about having that situation present and trying to come up with ways in which we can improve that. But one of the biggest things that the fiduciary stewardship is not going to take is in terms of revenues, right? So I think that until we don't figure that part out, we are still on a survival mode for me.
I just want to say I agree completely that we shouldn't be frivolous with it. It's more like if there is an opportunity for revenue or sponsorships or fundraising, we should really make the plan, make the business plan, and execute on it with full force, because we have the option of, okay, we can survive for a year and that's fun. We get to just survive for a year. But the only way to get out of a survival for the year is to grow and to take on revenue building work. So we definitely want to make sure that we have the opportunity, like that we have a business plan and we're not being frivolous, but that we don't feel like we don't get too stuck in the scarcity mindset, and that we take opportunities like the one that Antti said about doing grants rounds for other people. There's a real business model there. And I think that we could pull it off. So I do have to run though, guys. I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Griff.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Dude, thank you guys. This was a really fun call. Bye, guys.
See you. I almost have to drop off as well, but I guess, yeah, just going with what Griff said, I think the bottom line is that our budget is simply just not going to cut it, and it's sort of like a chicken and egg problem, in some senses. But if we never, like, if we don't, to be able to get to the point of revenue, we'll have to invest and sort of take some risks. And maybe this grants thing is not that thing. I'm not saying it is, but if we sort of, after looking at it closer and planning it and all that, if we see that's a potential way to go, I think we should do as much as possible and double down and just chase that, hoping for it to be successful. Of course, not like overspending and throwing money around, but it is what it is. Like, projects raise money to be able to to try luck and see if they ever get some revenue back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we can make a very precise plan and budget, and we can incorporate consulting from General Magic into that budget. I think, yeah, maybe we need like a pilot or a proof of concept. Like if we can get a first organization, a first DAO that we can run their their grants round for them and see what their budget is, and like but just in general a little bit of market research, like what would this look like if we were running grants rounds for DAOs, how many DAOs are doing this, what's the size of that addressable market, and start to compile some of that together into like a business plan to get a really concrete idea. Basically doubling down, like you said.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
We have this year to figure that out, right? Like that's all. And like you said,
Yeah.
YGG, it's all about planning, budgeting, and of course, I agree with taking the risk, right? But I think we also need to be mindful about where we're coming from. You know, like I think we've already given a shot to a lot of different things that haven't really worked out, and that's okay. You know, that's part of life, of things. So that's the thing. We need to move carefully and to be really mindful of our decisions. You know, for example, there's this other idea of the incubation program, right? Does that fit into this new idea of us running grand rounds? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know, right? Like this idea of the TEC being a regranter, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know, right? Like there's a lot of questions, and it's pretty easy also to get lost between a lot of different options and avenues that we could take. So that's where we need to work together and to, I guess, go to the same direction, right? Because if we all think different things and we all have different end goals for the TEC and we all imagine different things, then it's gonna be really, really complicated to make things work, right? So yeah, that's all.
Yeah. I'll send later Disruption Joe's proposal on Arbitrum. Like he's running like very big scale programs for Arbitrum, and I didn't read the whole proposal, so I don't really know the business structure of it, but we can have a look at it. And I guess you know, obviously just my opinion, but at least so far seems like the grants program is like people in general are liking it, and there's businesses being built around them. So I would probably consider, of course, depending on if like a business case makes sense for us. But if it does, I would slow down on the other initiatives that are just ideas and are not proven, and just for a little bit, just chase the money where the market is spending money, which seems to be spending a bit on grants programs. Even though it may not be like the issue is also about alignment, I guess. Like us running grants rounds for other projects is not like core to the TC, but if it makes money and helps us support other stuff, I think we should, just consider it the same way General Magic started as a working group in Giveth, and then they just spun up a company to support all. Like right now, most Giveth contributors are General Magic employees because that's the business. Yeah, and one small thing before I jump off, there's something really cool that I think we're going to implement on the next round, and that I think I haven't seen this on QF rounds, and maybe at the very least a good way to attract also sponsors for our rounds is request for grants. Like the round is open and all that, but we let the sponsor pick or select or make a request for grant based on their needs. So if Ocean were to need a very specific data analysis tool, they as sponsors could make a request for grant, and grants that meet the requirement may get like a, I don't know, a small separate budget on top of the QF matching. That's something that came up on the advisory meeting, and I thought was really good too. Not in time to be done this round, but
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah.
all great stuff came up after the advisory meeting. I think that was also really, it's also really good that we made it. The hardest part about these rounds is always timing. I wish we had more timing between stuff, or more predictable times to plan. But I guess it's a bit of it is what it is, and we just have to roll with it. The decisions we make on X round will always go to the following one instead of the current. But at this point, I'm just rumbling. I don't really have much to add.
Okay, then I think that'll be everything, right?
Yep. At least for me. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I was a little distracted today. I've been having these consistent audio issues, and I think I might get a new laptop if I can't get this figured out. So I apologize for that.